What's going on, apes? As you probably know, Paramount War will be releasing March 10th. Now you're all probably thinking, what deck should I play? What card should I buy? What is going to be the best? So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the top meta decks that you should be playing at a competitive level for OP02. Yes, a competitive level, so please don't think that decks that I don't talk about aren't any good. I just think that these ones will be the best. I've been looking forward to making this video the most because I am all about the competitive scene. I'm going to show you guys what I believe are going to be the big 5 decks this coming format, along with some sample deck lists for them. Before I get into the top 5 decks, I do want to give some honorable mentions. So first off, we have Smoker. This deck is good. It seems like a lot of fun, and don't get me wrong, it is very, very playable. It has a good matchup against Kaido, but it does have an extremely difficult time keeping up with Zoro. Next is Ivankov. Not bad either, but I think it will just perform the same way that Doflamingo did in OP1. It's going to have a difficult time keeping up over 9 rounds of Swiss. With the honorable mentions out of the way, let's get right into the big 5. To start us off, we've got the highly anticipated Edward Newgate aka Whitebeard. I'll be honest, this deck looks like a lot of fun, but it feels very, very glass cannon-y. It has a shitload of power, but it's lacking defensively. That's why you max out on cards like Guard Point, Radical Beam, and the new Marco blocker. Speaking of Marco, how insane is this card? On KO, you can discard a Whitebeard type card to replay it rested. Yes, that means you can discard the Moby Dick that's been sitting in your hand that you thought would be dead for the rest of the game. The deck plays some big boys to hit your opponent hard, some blocker spot removals, and a couple rush characters to make sure you can end the game as soon as possible. I expect to see about 10 to 20% of top decks to be Whitebeard. Nothing overwhelming, but not underwhelming by any means. It's going to be a powerful leader, but I don't think it will become an all-star deck until OP03. Then we have the return of Kaido. Kaido gets some incredibly powerful cards this set. It's replacing mediocre cards like Alti and Black Maria for different mediocre cards, but the good thing about the new mediocre cards is that they're searchable. But seriously, Hannibal is the deck's Nami. Searches for the Alti replacement, the Black Maria replacement, and the Shiryu, this neat new 1-cost murderer. And we can't forget about what I believe to be the best counter ever printed to date, Hell's Judgment. Also searchable by our boy Hannibal. I think the deck will have the same problem that it did in OP1, however. No island, no good. I can't see this deck winning events consistently, but I can expect to see plenty of them in top 16s. Next off, we've got Trafalgar Law. I like to call this one the Yu-Gi-Oh player deck because it's got that style of gameplay. It's a very tough deck to pilot, but it shows results the more time you put into it. Law gets some cards that synergize incredibly, making it a powerhouse. It gets Makino, which pumps its units, Dadan, another searcher as if Nami and Bonnie weren't enough, and Vista, free card removal. Best part about these cards is that they're all 3 cost or less, making them great targets to flood the board with quickly and use Law's effect to get off your combos. The deck is just a huge toolbox that's getting more tools. We'll talk about Zoro next. Another deck that you're going to see a ton of, and another deck that's going to utilize Dadan and Makino. You're going to see a more aggressive Zoro than OP1 because of all the searchable 1-drops. The deck will be swinging with more creatures and replenishing their hand easier, solving the biggest problem that Zoro faced in OP1. The second biggest problem that it faced was the monstrous 8-drop Kid. With cards like Magra, Makino, and Whitebeard, it makes 8-drop Kid look like a lot less of a threat. Expect to see a ton of Zoros everywhere. At your locals, in top 16, winning events, at your grocery store, everywhere. I like to think that I saved the best deck for last, Kinemon. We all know how Green did last format. It literally won every single big event. I think it's safe to say that Green has some of the best cards in the game and its synergy is off the charts. We get Big Daddy Odin, phenomenal power card, attacks twice and summons an Okiku on KO. We also get what I believe is the best card in the entire game, Yamato. This card is just unfair. Being able to drop a 6k beater, tap a 6-cost creature, all for 3 mana with Kinemon's effect, should not even be legal. I also believe the deck is just as playable and could see a lot of play with the Kid Leader. Yes, playing cards for cheaper is fantastic, but attacking toys can be just as strong. I don't think green gets any worse this format, but I do think that the other decks get a lot better, so just expect to see as much green as you do see Zoro. If I had to guess what top 16s will look like, it would probably be something like this. Something around 25 to 30% Zoro, 25 to 30% Kinemon, about 10 to 15% Kaido, 10 to 15% Whitebeard, and then about 10% Misk. If you were to take a look at our OP1 meta versus Asia's, you'll notice that Asia started off very red heavy. Zoro was winning everything. Then about halfway through the meta, it changes to all kid decks. If you look at our OP1 meta, we did something very similar. Those of you that started playing on release would know how popular Zoro was. Now if you look at Asia's OP2 meta, it was the same thing. It started off very red heavy and moved towards green near the end. I'm anticipating our meta to be very Zoro and Kinemon predominant. I don't think we'll make the decision to let Kinemon fly under the radar by any means, especially given how many people already own green decks and have green cards and the accessibility to those cards. So don't be surprised to show up to your locals thinking it's Christmas with all the green and red. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm not going to be slowing down on One Piece content, and I've got a lot planned for OPO2, so please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so I can quit my 9 to 5. Thanks guys.